Hey there, fellow adult collectors. Welcome back. David Eon here with another vintage video showcase. Today, for your consideration, we are taking a look at JJ Arms by Ideal, made in 1976 and 1977, I believe. And that is J-A-Y are the letters of his name. J Arms, or Julian Armas, if you want to be technical, since JJ Arms is not his real name. Julius Armas was his real name. And just like how Ideal did with Evel Knievel, making a real celebrity Daredevil type character into an action figure, they did the same thing here with JJ Arms. JJ Arms is a real person. I believe he's still alive. He was a famous detective because he worked primarily, I think his big claim to fame was working on Marlon Brando's case when Marlon Brando's son was kidnapped. And he has no hands. He lost his hands in an accident when he was 11 years old, breaking into a storage facility at a Texas railroad and stealing railway torpedoes. And for those of you who are not familiar with what that is, because I don't think they use those anymore, a railway torpedo is like this disc that you place on the track, and when the train runs it over, it explodes. It doesn't do any damage to the train, but it's basically a sound signal for the driver, and it's supposed to tell the driver to do something. So he hears that pop, and he was like, oh, I ran over that disc, that means do this. So him and his friend stole some of these, and he was playing with them, and they blew up in his hands. And his hands ended up being amputated just above the wrists, both of them. So JJ Arms is a real person, and Ideal made these action figures. They only made one figure, actually, which is the one that you see here in the box, and one vehicle playset, which you see there. And of course, there's the logo and the printing where it says 1976 JJ Arms. And his interchangeable biokinetic hands. And he has all these like impractical hands that wouldn't work in real life like suction cups. I don't think he really had suction cup hands, although he did have a revolver hand. JJ Arms could actually shoot. He learned to shoot in high school. Once upon a time, for those of you who are younger, yes, they did used to teach gun safety and marksmanship in high school. And guess what? No school shootings back then. But that's another story. There's JJ Arms in all of his 9.5-inch glory. You often see him loose. You don't see him in the box too often. And this is a sealed box. So I really cannot open this up and demonstrate it to you, but I wanted to be able to show this to the viewers. You may not be familiar with JJ Arms and may not have seen it before. Equipped with the magnetic hand, JJ lifts steel objects. I don't know about him just hoisting up a manhole cover like that. JJ's pistol hand helps him out of tight spots. I bet it does. JJ's suction cup hands allow him to climb the sides of buildings. And on the other side here, it demonstrates all of the tools that are included. Suction cup hands for climbing walls. I wonder if those really work with the action figure. I'd like to get one of these loose and just mess around with it, honestly. Biokinetic hooks grip objects firmly. Machete hand, ready for use anytime. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Machete hands. Karate hands for close-in action. Revolver hand for emergencies, and magnetic hand for lifting steel objects. This is not an easy figure to find still in the box, by any means, as you can probably well imagine. Not a too terribly valuable figure, but rare nonetheless. And I appreciate it, especially having grown up in the 70s. And it's got like this little comic book on the back, kind of. The man with biokinetic hands, the world's greatest investigator. I'm not sure about that. If you go to the internet and you look up some of the information about J.J. Arms, a lot of it is kind of puffed up. I think that he made a lot of things up to try to puff himself up. He says he saved Marlon Brando's son, but then another report says he only worked on the case. There's reports that say he worked for Elvis and that he worked for John Lennon, but that can't be confirmed. Stuff like that. He says he worked for, I think it was Fox Studios, if I remember correctly, as an actor from like 1949 to 1955. Yeah, he's that old. But there's no records. He claims to have been in almost 40 movies and almost 30 television shows, but there are no references that can be found demonstrating that he was in any of these movies except for one episode of Hawaii Five-0. So you got to imagine how much of this is just his own publicity and how much of it is legitimate. This is the van, the Mobile Investigation Unit, which this is also sealed. I'm sorry, guys, because usually if something is accessible, if I have an item and I'm able to open it up to demonstrate it, I'm happy to do that, but I'm not going to crack the seal if these are unopened items. It says J.J. Arms in his MIU, of course, Mobile Investigation Unit, ready for action. And it is an entire playset. You see there that the panel slides open and the top pops up and all sorts of things going on here. Sliding panel reveals the crime lab. Special ladder for climbing to the top. Can he just use the suction cups? J.J. Arms MIU, a super action vehicle for the world's greatest investigator, complete with quick exit front end, telecommunication center, bulletproof shield, and super hook for remote pickups. So J.J. Arm, of course, has to have a ridiculously long arm for the truck. And the top here just shows various positions of the truck, different angles and such, which is cool. Instant opening front end for quick exits. See how it just drops out and you can step out. And there he is on the inside, operating computerized telecommunications center. And you know, it actually almost inspires me here, looking at this, to find loose examples so I can experiment with it a little bit. And if I do that, you know, I'll show it. I'll show it again. A super action vehicle for the world's greatest investigator. Assembly required. And on the back is just a sketch, and the sketch shows you what everything is. Oh, and don't forget, figure is not included. Figure is not included, folks. You don't get the figure for free. And you may have noticed back there that picture that says J.J. Arms. And that is an autographed poster. And this was done at his ranch in Texas in, I think it was 2015. J.J. Arms signed 100 of these posters, or large cards, if you will. And there he is with his pistol hand there, you see. It's like he's got a claw-matic, I forget what they call those, with the gun attached to it. He apparently can shoot well with that. And that's J.J. Arms as of 2015. Mixed with the artwork from the back of the J.J. Arms action figure packaging. And a picture of the figure there and his signature. And this was done with JSA, because you see that it is authenticated. They did 100 of these in 100 trading card size at a special event at his ranch in 2015. And I like having this to tie in with the toys. I think that's really cool. Although, honestly, I kind of wish I had the trading card one more so just because it would be easier to display. I've got this thing basically sitting in a protective box in the closet because I don't have anywhere to put it. I can display the van and the action figure easily enough because I can work it in the museum. You see I'm down in the toy museum here. I can find space for J.J. Arms and his mobile investigation unit, but that poster, I don't have anywhere to put it. And I do have the Ideal catalog. I have not showcased this catalog yet, but I do have the catalog. I've got the 1977 Toy Fair catalog here from Ideal. And there is J.J. Arms. Nice big spread on page 17. And the salesman wrote the price, $4.99. J.J. Arms figure, and they give you a little synopsis. J.J. Arms is more than a real-life character. He's bigger than life. J.J. overcame incredible odds to become the world's greatest investigator. Today, he lives in luxury, employs 240 agents, and earns up to $5,000 or $50,000 per case. I don't know if that's true or not. What I had read was that his biggest payday in those days was getting $25,000 for working on Marlon Brando's case. If that's true, again, some of this really, when you start really looking at the history, it's a little puffed up. And they explain that he's 9.5-inch tall, fully posable figure dressed in turtleneck vest and slacks. JJ has no hands, but a spring-loaded hook can be opened and closed to grasp objects or add one of his interchangeable action accessories like the pair of suction cups for climbing walls, as an example. And they demonstrate the packaging, which does look exactly like the packaging there. Sometimes when they show packaging in these catalogs, it's different. Like if you remember, my last showcase was of the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood trolley, and the packaging was different. The next page has, of course, the camp, which was never made. You see it says out, because as far as I know, this was not done. And I could be wrong. If somebody knows of this existing, you can tell me. But for all intents and purposes, from what I understand, this was never done. The J.J. Arms camp. Come along and visit J.J. Arms' special place, a room so secret no outsider has ever seen it before. To get access there, we walk through a secret door in JJ's garage, then down a dark flight of stairs and through another door. All of a sudden, we're in a brightly lit room. This is camp, JJ's Center for Anti-Crime and Marksmanship Preparation. They really blow it up, but like I said, so far as I know, it was never made. Unless, and it's possible that I've just never come across one. But you can tell me. And there is the mobile investigation unit, all opened up. And I'll point that out and notice the packaging. Because every boxed version of the mobile investigation unit that I've ever seen has been green. Green in color, which I don't know why they did that. Because this figure was blue. This is blue. The packaging for this actually is green. And then the packaging for this figure, or the packaging demonstrated here, is blue just like that. For some reason they went with green. And that does happen. That's also why it's kind of fun to have these catalogs. Historically speaking, also, you can find differences like that. You can find things that were never made, that never got out of pre-production or never got out of the prototype stage, packaging variations, so on and so forth. And you see that the salesman wrote the price of the mobile investigation unit in at $9.99. Package of 6, 25 pounds. So I got to ask you, any fans of Ideal out there? You remember Ideal? I do like the Ideal toy lines. It's slowly fading away. People are forgetting about this stuff, which is why I like to do these showcases, because I have things that people may have forgotten about or that maybe they've never seen before, and this provides an opportunity for people to see it for the first time. And again, even though these are sealed, they're not astronomically expensive. This is something that you saw today and you're like, wow, that's really cool. It'll probably take a while for you to find these sealed, but if you did, they wouldn't be too terribly expensive, honestly. Or maybe you would be more interested in them loose. Loose, they aren't nearly as expensive, obviously. And I may get a loose set myself just because I'm intrigued about all these little pieces, although honestly they look fragile. They look fragile. I'd be nervous about breaking them up. So what do you think? What do you think of these? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Please do check out some of our other videos for more showcases, unboxings, adult toy industry and collector discussions, tours, you name it, we probably do it. We're all in nostalgia here. So thanks for joining me here today, and what more can I say? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.